Welcome to a new broadcast on the Geekanoids channel. It is time for a brand new show. This is Monday Madness. Now, a little bit of backstory about how Monday Madness has come about. I wanted to do a recap on a Monday morning so that you get something fresh and new to watch to set you up for the week. The things that have boggled my mind that I've seen on the internet today, I'm going to be sharing with you today in this broadcast. And also, if you were eagle-eyed enough to spot me actually tweeting this out, you will have seen the thumbnail to this particular broadcast. I've had many of you over the past month, where I've been doing a lot more live broadcasts, asking me, Dave, please can you set a schedule? Dave, please can you let me know when you're next going to broadcast online? Dave, we keep missing tuning into the live broadcasts and we just really want to do it. We really want to interact with you in the live chat. Well, now is your chance, because I have actually put a little schedule together to see how it goes. So every 4 PM on every Monday, I'm going to be doing Monday Madness. And apart from me sharing with you the best bits that I've found in the world of technology over the past day or two, it's a chance for you to share with me in the chat some of the best bits you found as well. Try and make me laugh, try and make me look amazed with what you found on the internet. You can share details in the chat and then I will search for them on the broadcast machine here and let you know my opinion. My only request is keep it clean. Keep it family friendly. So, before we get on with the first thing I'm going to talk about, I did have a question come in via email. This is a long-time viewer who doesn't have Twitter, which is fair enough. Not everyone has to have Twitter. But he asked, what was the deal with all the little Funko Pops behind me here? And what was the deal with this one in particular? Now, if you are familiar with the Big Bang Theory, this is Sheldon Cooper wearing a Green Lantern top. And Sheldon Cooper, and indeed the Big Bang Theory, is one of my favourite shows. Now, I've got a couple of Sheldons up here, and some Despicable Me, and some Star Wars, because I love Star Wars as well. But I would say that the Big Bang Theory and Silicon Valley, absolutely love Silicon Valley, is one of my favourite TV shows. I really do love it. It's absolutely fantastic. So in answer to your question, you know who you are, who emailed me. You wanted to remain anonymous, but that is the deal with the Funko Pops. These have been bought for me as gifts. I purchased a couple myself, but mainly gifts, and they reside there up on the shelf. I've also got some sort of dotted about in other places as well. So let's take a look in the chat. We have got so many of you tuned in. Really awesome to see so many of you here. Good day to you all. To Scott, Mark, Peter, Yui, Chris and Darren, who were the first 6 in the chat today. If you've got any questions at all throughout this broadcast, pop them in the live chat. If you want your chat or question actually highlighted, then you can use the super chat feature. That helps support the channel a little bit as well. And also, if you've got anything you want me to check out throughout this live broadcast, again, the chat is the place for that as well. So thank you very much for everyone who's tuned in. Let's start by taking a look at the first thing that has really caught my attention this week. Now, I am really into my cars. I absolutely love cars. I've been into them since I was probably about 12 years old. So that's a long time without going into too much about my age. But I also used to run a car valeting business. That was one of my first businesses. And I've had many cars, but probably the car that I've really liked driving the most is my BMW 1 Series. I've had a 3 Series as well, but I just like the 1 Series a lot better. It's more sort of me. But when Tesla announced their very first car, it piqued my interest. Then when they announced the Tesla X, that piqued my interest as well. Now they have just this was a surprise launch as well. This was announced when they were actually doing their launch event for their new trucks, or lorries as we call them here in the UK. This was a big surprise. I didn't see this one coming. This is the Tesla Roadster. This thing, not only does it look absolutely gorgeous, but its performance is amazing. Now this is an electric car, the quickest car in the world, top speed of 250 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, and a range of 620 miles. Unbelievable. And just look at this. Wow, it does look absolutely amazing. Now the battery technology that Tesla have developed allow this to charge nice and quickly as well. And in fact, just digressing slightly and talking to you about their the super trucks that they announced, I think the super trucks recharge in about 30 minutes to give you 200 or 300 miles range. I'm not sure if this is the same, but just look at these specifications: 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds and 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds. Wow. And the range, 620 miles. Now this is a big investment. It's going to cost you $250,000, but it just looks absolutely stunning. Look at the design. It's just amazing what Tesla are doing. They are transforming the motor industry with their new launches. Not only their technology that they're building into the cars, also the control system, but with this they've knocked it out of the park with regard to design. It looks absolutely fantastic. Very, very impressed indeed. What do you think? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. I am just in love. I really am. Now they say that when you become an adult, the sort of most major purchase you're going to make is your house, where you're going to live, and probably the second most expensive purchase you're going to make is your car. For me, it has been sort of like that, although I have got an interesting watches as well. But this car is like, wow, if I was going to save for one car, or if I was going to blow some of a lottery win on one car, this would be it. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Just look at it here in the background. Fantastic. Paul Sergey says, when are you buying one, Dave? I'm going to buy one the day I win the lottery. No, seriously, if I could afford to save one of these, it would certainly be on my shopping list. It looks absolutely awesome. And $250,000 is a lot, but when you look at what you're getting here, yes, it is a big investment. Of course it is a big... I'd be stupid to say it isn't. That is a lot of money. But when you compare it to some other cars, I think you are getting a lot for your money here. And this is leading edge technology. It absolutely is. Scott Burgess says, I've noticed a lot of similarities between yourself and Chris Pirillo, such as now the AMA shows and the increase in live shows. Do you take inspiration from Chris's show or from his show? I've watched Chris for many, many years, and although I do take inspiration from a lot of different creators, the reason I do more live broadcasts now, I covered this in a previous video actually, is I used to pre-record all of my videos and very occasionally I'd go live. I used to live broadcast from my iPhone, but the reason I've made this transition is I used to record perhaps 7 to 10 days in advance. I'd have that buffer of videos there scheduled on the channel, and I felt a big disconnect from you, the viewer. A big disconnect, and I don't mind changing. I don't mind changing at all. This channel was built from the ground up so that I could share my passion and knowledge of technology for you guys, and that disconnect was not good. The videos I was publishing were sometimes a week out of date or a week later than other publishers or content creators. I didn't have this interaction with you, although I answered as many comments as I could, probably about 99% of comments. But this allows me to keep things more current, and I like talking about a lot of things. Things like this Tesla, for example, really excite me, and that wouldn't fit into a pre-recorded video because I don't see the value in that. But getting your engagement and your feedback on what you think about the Tesla Roadster as well makes for a very interesting interactivity or interaction between myself and you. So that's why I've changed. But Chris's videos, I've watched Chris for years. I agree with a lot of things that he says, especially when it comes to user experience being down to the software and the hardware just enables it. I totally agree with him on that front. So yeah, very good question. It's a very good question. Rui Abru says, that special car on my screen right now on your wish list, most definitely. most definitely on my wish list. If Elon is watching, you know, loaner, even if it's just for a couple of weeks, would be good. But anyway, that is the look at the Tesla Roadster. Big thank you again to everyone who's tuned in. If you've got Twitter, please do tweet a link out to this live broadcast. I would really appreciate it. And if you've got any questions or comments at all, then pop them in the chat. But let's move on. Let's move on to the second thing that I want to share with you, and that is the HTC U11 Plus. Now, I've mentioned this on the channel before. This could potentially be my switch to Android daily driver. This wasn't available to order until today. This became available to pre-order today, shipping in December, hopefully in the first week of December, fingers crossed. This looks like an amazing smartphone. This was potentially going to be the Google Pixel 2 XL until Google decided to go for LG for the larger version of their Android smartphone. And it looks absolutely fantastic. I'm really very impressed with both the design and also the specifications. If the HTC Sense overlay on top of Android is nice and light, this will be a really nice experience. It's got a 6-inch display and it is a Super LCD display, so it's not AMOLED, so it's not going to have issues with burn-in or colour shift, hopefully. It's also 18:9 aspect ratio, a big 3930 milliamp hour battery, and DCI P3 colour support on the display. We've got almost edge to edge. The fingerprint has moved to the back on this. That's a really nice addition to this particular phone. This is easily going to be an all-day battery, no doubt at all. Really accurate colours promised on the display. I've also seen some photos taken with this already, and it looks very promising indeed. Single-handed experience. It's got a nice way of being able to swipe down from the middle of the screen to access your notifications, or swipe up from the middle to access your app drawer. And you can also squeeze the sides as well with this Edge Sense, and this can be actually assigned to either the Edge launcher, any app, or indeed the voice assistant, being Google Voice. Although I do think that this one might support Amazon, but Google Assistant would be my choice anyway. Let's just go down here. Yeah, it does say here smart voice assistants, so you can actually use Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa on here as well. Now, the reason I'm showing you this today is it was announced a while back, but this has actually become available today, and I have actually got one coming. First week of December, if not before, this should be in the Geekanoids studio, and I'm super excited to be able to share my experience of the HTC U11 Plus with you as well. My transition is happening. The iPhone 10 is no longer here, and I am going to make that switch as my daily driver to a Google Android smartphone. Also, within the next couple of days, another bit of news for you is I am expecting the OnePlus 5T to be delivered. So that's going to be my real experience of a larger screen Android smartphone, which I'm going to use for a couple of weeks. And then the HTC U11 Plus should land, and that's going to be my new experience for a couple of weeks, and then I'm going to decide between those two. Hopefully one of those two stick. So you've got to stick with me, you've got to tune into those broadcasts, let me know what you think about my experience. I'm bound to have some issues as well, and maybe if any of you are Android users, you can chime in the chat and actually let me know how to overcome those issues as well, because I am no Android expert. I know what's a good experience, but searching out apps and things like that, you probably have more experience than me. Paul Sergid says, I have the HTC U11, planning to get the Plus. Love HTC, that is awesome. And also NMTW6 says, I agree with you 100%, Darren. You're referring to Darren's comment there about the Tesla. Paul also asked, how much is it? Referring to the HTC U11 Plus, it comes in at £699 in the UK, and that's for an unlocked SIM-free version, so no carrier tie-in with that. Ronilo Jacerino, sorry, says, did you sell your iPhone 10? Yes, that is with its new owner. So the iPhone 10 is no longer with me. I didn't think I was going to stick with it unless it wowed me. The only thing that really wowed me with it was the actual build quality, which Apple got spot on with the iPhone 10. I didn't like the notch, but we're not going to cover that in this particular broadcast because this is Monday Madness. And I must remind you that Monday Madness is not only about me sharing with you what's made me go wow in the arena of technology, but also for you to share what you found as well. So if you've got anything you want me to take a look at during this broadcast, then do put it in the chat. I'll have a quick search for it, and if it is suitable for the broadcast, then of course we will move the discussion around that. But without further ado, let's jump on to, I think, number 3, the third piece that I want to share with you today. And this is a little bit of Apple news. This comes courtesy of Mac Rumours, and as with all of the news pieces I cover in today's video, there are links to these news stories down in the video description area. So if you want to check these out for yourself after the effect, then please do. So the first bit of Apple news is that the iMac Pro appears to include the A10 Fusion chip, which comes from an iOS device, for always on Hey Siri. Now this is not necessarily one of those wow moments, but is a bit of an oh my goodness moment. Is this really going to happen? Is my iMac Pro, in air quotes, going to be listening for my Siri command whilst I'm getting on with professional work? Now I must admit, I've got Siri obviously on my desktop already. I have to invoke it. I've got it on my MacBook Pro as well, and I have to invoke it with a button. Do I want to be able to do it just with my voice? Do I want that constant interruption? Do I want this sort of feature in a Pro machine? For me, I think it's ridiculous. I really don't want it. I think it clouds people's decision as to whether this is a Pro device or a consumer device, and I just don't think this has any place at all in the iMac Pro. And then let's move on to the second piece of Apple news. This is more of an informational piece for you, but I saw this firsthand when I was doing one of my broadcasts last week. The moderator that came into the chat with me, called Geekmod, actually has a MacBook Pro with this issue on it. This is dubbed, I think it's called Staingate. And it says here that Apple extends the free repairs of anti-reflective coating on select MacBook and MacBook Pro models, and it's where this area here around the edge of the display, thankfully it's not in the central portion of the display, is actually sort of looks like it's separating from the main bonding, and Apple are extending this service, so free display replacement within the 4-year coverage period. And this is for certain models of the MacBook Pro. So please do check out the link. If you've got this issue, there is a link to this Mac Rumours story in the video description, and you can take advantage of that with Apple and actually get your MacBook Pro repaired. But when I saw that, wow, that shouldn't be happening. Again, Apple's quality control slipping a little bit there. I think they could have certainly done a lot better with their quality control on a lot of their products recently. I can remember going through a few issues with MacBook Pros in years gone by, and I seem to go through a bad spell with MacBook Pros until my most recent one, but certainly Apple seemed to be having display issues with the iPhone 10, of course, and now they're having issues with MacBook Pro displays, which is a big investment, as are the iPhone 10s, you know, big investment across the board. And it's just a shame to see this happening, but at least Apple are reacting responsibly and actively with it, and offering out this extended repair. So back to the Siri on the iMac Pro. We've got Harry K chiming in here saying, oh no, I don't want Siri on my Mac or on my iMac. I agree with you there. It has no place on a professional machine. It's terrible news about Siri being on the iMac. Darren Gator says that he's having YouTube gremlins where he is experiencing buffering issues. Please do try and refresh your screen, Darren. I'm sure it will clear up. The bitrate here looks absolutely fine, so I'm sure it's a local issue, but I hope you can join us again soon. Harry K says he saw a YouTube video about a MacBook Pro 2016 having terrible problems about the screens going pop. That is the issue I had on mine. mine was making a popping and clicking noise. It seemed to be emanating from the touch bar area on my MacBook Pro, but it was in fact a display issue. Apple repaired my MacBook Pro under the warranty. It came back in worse condition than it went in, so I ended up actually having it refunded because I went through a whole host of problems convincing them that it shouldn't have come back to me in worse condition, and they eventually agreed to offering me a refund or a replacement. On that particular occasion, I opted for a refund. So moving on, let's take a look at the next piece of news. This is a really weird one. This is number 5, and this is an oh my goodness, I can't believe this is going to happen sort of topic. So let's take a look at number 5. Full credit to Engadget for posting this story. I'm not sure if they were the original source, but certainly this is a really interesting article, and the title is London buses to be powered by coffee grounds. This is amazing if this actually happens, and really good as well if coffee grounds are going to be used as a fuel for London buses. I don't know all of the chemistry behind it, but it says here, as a part of ongoing efforts to reduce pollution in the capital, London buses are set to utilise a new source for fuel, coffee grounds. Thanks to a collaboration between BioBean, Shell and Argent Energy, double-deckers will be filled with B2O biofuel created by blending oil extracted from coffee waste with diesel. So there is still a diesel element in this, but by combining the coffee beans, it's going to actually produce enough power for one London bus for a year. That is amazing. So I'd really like to know how this sort of biocomponent mixture actually makes for a leaner or more environmentally friendly fuel. I'm not sure it does. Maybe it actually just reduces the cost of running the buses, but I would hope it decreases emissions for it to be a worthwhile sort of experiment. Let me read a bit further. It is dubbed to be a greener alternative. The end goal, of course, is to have a zero emission transport system in London by 2050. So very, very interesting. All of these developments with science and technology to be able to actually power vehicles from coffee beans. How cool is that? That is a really interesting read, and again, a link to that is down in the video description. Awesome. That's just gonna, and will it smell nice as well? Will it smell like coffee? So will the whole of London, when it's powered by coffee beans, instead of smelling of diesel, it smell like a cappuccino or your favourite blend of coffee? How cool would that be? Or if it's caffeinated coffee, will the diesel and caffeine fumes make us get that caffeine fix without having to buy our favourite beverage? So it might well mean that we can get that caffeine fix without having to spend £2 or £3, or probably £3 or £4 in London on one of those fancy coffees. Just my take on it. That is absolutely awesome if it happens. Bazza, London Transport, sponsored by Starbucks. How long until we see this? It won't be sponsored by Starbucks, it'll be powered by Starbucks. That is absolutely crazy. Very, very crazy indeed. The unexpected asks, is Apple planning to bring Google Assistant to Sierra or High Sierra as an alternative to Siri? Can't see that ever happening. It'll be Siri all the way with Apple. Harry K says, yes, I knew you had a problem with this, and this guy said that Apple knew about the problem but didn't own up about it. Harry K, you're referring to the issue I had with my MacBook Pro again, and Apple do have a document number for it. If you want to tweet me or email me after this broadcast and you want to pass this on to the particular person whose video you've watched, then I will actually email you the document number that Apple hold on file, so then they can't deny that it is a problem. Hello to Jessica and also to David for tuning in. Have I missed any other questions further up? I don't think I have, so let us move on to the I think it's the 6th and final thing that's really made me smile, and this is a happy smile with this one. So let's move over to something that a lot of people are going to be overjoyed about. Again, the source for this one is Engadget. Animal Crossing in its new guise, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is coming to your phone November 22nd, so just in 2 days' time. My daughter has been talking about this and says that she can't wait, and indeed I know some people that bought or are intending to buy just to buy a Nintendo DS in whatever format, a DS or DS XL or 3DS if they're still available, just to play Animal Crossing. So that is how good this particular franchise is actually drawing players in. And this is a really cool looking game. I'm going to be trying it myself. It says here from Nintendo of America on their Twitter, have you heard the news? Animal Crossing Pocket Camp will be coming to mobile devices, both on iOS and Android, on November the 22nd. This is Nintendo's third title on for smartphone gaming, so their third title on iOS and Android. They had Super Mario Run and Fire Emblem Heroes previously, and now we've got Animal Crossing coming. It's free to play, and I dare say it will probably have some in-game purchases, but it looks very, very cool. I'm going to be playing this myself. I'm a casual gamer, as you know, and Animal Crossing is looking very, very good. Very excited about this personally. So if you want to check it out, you've got 2 more days to wait for Animal Crossing to be available on your device. I'm really pleased to see this. I think the future for Nintendo is, of course, with their Nintendo Switch. That's been a really popular console for them, and people are still buying the older Nintendo handheld consoles. I think the Wii and Wii U have sort of almost done what they were going to do now. I don't think they're really sort of pushing that platform anymore. Certainly the Nintendo Switch is an amazing portable console, but for Nintendo to survive, I think they need to have a presence on the gaming platforms as well. And bringing out their third app in the form of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp onto iOS and Android is a wise move. I hope they've done a good job of it. I'm sure they have, and I will definitely be partaking in the occasional game of this. In fact, I'll let you know. If you remind me, I will let you know in a future broadcast if I think it is worthwhile. The unexpected afternoon, Dave, is Nintendo planning to release Animal Crossing to the Switch? I'm not sure. They may well do, but is it wise for them to put development into that on the Switch, unless they already have? But is that wise if they're doing this sort of free model for Android and iOS users? Perhaps not. Perhaps that's a conflict of resources for them. Certainly haven't heard anything about them bringing it to the Switch. David Hepworth, do you think they will do the same as Super Mario Run, where the game is free to download and play a few levels, but make you pay more, maybe £10? I'm not sure how they're going to do it with Animal Crossing. Perhaps they do sort of particular sort of power-ups or features throughout the game where you pay like a 99p or like a smaller microtransaction to progress to higher levels or to make your journey easier. Really not sure. Gina M says, loved Animal Crossing back in the DS days. I agree with you, Gina. Absolutely superb game. Harry K says, oh, by the way, I got the screwdriver you told us about on the Amazon Black Friday. Really good, thanks. Really fast posting, and got it the next day from when you placed the order. That's really cool. I can't show you my screwdriver, but it's a Kamasa screwdriver that I use, and it's in my cupboard and it's blocked by my tripod at the moment. So unless you want to move out of the way, I can't show you that particular screwdriver, but it is an awesome screwdriver. Really good of you to check that out, Harry. Raymond Moore, what casual game do you usually play, Dave? Let me get my phone, which is here, and we'll go into my games folder. Let me put my brightness down for you. So these are the games that I typically play on my iPhone. Apart from Pokemon Go, haven't played that in absolutely ages. But I suppose the main one that I play daily is Tom Gold Run. I also play Paper Toss just for a bit of, like, you know, I call it pointless gaming. It's not pointless, but just for the occasional game. Still like Fall Down 2. Not so much Dots anymore. But mainly Tom Gold Run. I play that on occasion. And what I'm really looking into, here's a little bit of an insight for you. I'm hoping to bring you some coverage on the Xbox One X in a future broadcast. and I'm looking at games for the Xbox. I know it doesn't harness the true power of the Xbox One X, but I'm looking at these social games that interact with your smartphone. So ones where you can sort of link them up to your console if you're on the same Wi-Fi, and you can actually sort of draw on the screen or answer the question or tap the buzzer on your smartphone. So you're sort of using this as a controller to link up to the game. I think that's a really cool way of doing gaming, because I don't like games where I put a virtual reality headset on and then I'm not communicating with the people around me. And I don't like games where I'm going to sit there hammering away at a controller for hours to complete various levels. I like to dive in and out of games for like 20 or 30 minute goes. And in a social scenario, this is where Nintendo did it right with their Wii and Wii U, because it got everyone involved and it got people out of their seats. So if you've got a group of people round and you're all having a really good laugh doing sort of a quiz game or a drawing game, and that interacts with your smartphone connected to your console, I think that's a much nicer way of gaming and much more enjoyable, because it brings that social aspect back. And that's what I'm planning to do with the Xbox One X. Harry K, hey Dave, have you got your... I don't know why I did that in. I said, hey Dave, and Harry K didn't even say hello, but he's already said hello. So Harry K says, have you got your Pixel 2 back yet, Dave? I just imagined you to say, hey. I don't know why. Pixel 2, update on the Pixel 2. I decided not to get it back. They received it back and we're going to exchange it. Because the screen was too small for it to become my daily driver, I decided not to have it back, so that's not coming back into my sort of arsenal of smartphones. And also, did I get the Huawei Mate 10 Pro? Still waiting for Huawei to get back to me on that. I have got a third party that might be sending me one. Again, I'm patiently waiting. The trouble with these devices is once they've been out for 2 or 3 weeks, it's pretty pointless me investing my revenue into a smartphone. I don't believe in getting a smartphone and then returning it for a refund. I think that's not good. I think that that only makes prices rise because so many people do it, and I think that the manufacturers or the retailers have to swallow up the fact that they're getting devices returned and they can't then resell them, and it eats up their money and revenue with things like courier costs. But I don't think that's fair, and that's why we're seeing this rising cost on a lot of devices, because of people abuse that system. So, you know, I just don't think it's fair to return devices. So once a device is 2 or 3 weeks old, it's sort of something I'm not going to put my revenue into, unless it's something I'm going to use. Then obviously I would. Harry K says, what Android phone will be your daily driver? Have you chosen yet? I think you tuned in a little bit late, Harry. It's looking to be either the HTC U11 Plus, which is coming into me on the first week of December, or indeed the OnePlus 5T, which is due in possibly tomorrow, if not the next day, and that will be the subject of a separate broadcast. The unexpected, is there any good alternatives to emulate retro gaming on iOS or OS X? To be honest, I'm going to have to pass on that question. Not really into that sort of thing. Haven't really looked at emulating games as such. The SNES Mini looks absolutely awesome, so I would go along with something like one of those sort of retro all-in-one consoles. I also saw just recently there was like a SNES handheld that you put the cartridges in the top. Something like that would interest me, but I've not really looked into or sort of researched any sort of emulation on my Mac as such. But there are emulators out there. I totally know that there are. We're also on the brink, I think it's Nvidia, that are possibly going to give us in-browser gaming, like really good quality as well. That's on the brink of sort of being launched. Hopefully sometime next year we might start seeing some games that we can just play in the browser, which would be absolutely awesome. So anyway, that is it for today's Monday Madness. Thank you very, very much for all tuning in. I really do appreciate it. If you want to tune in again, then this is scheduled to take place every Monday at 4 PM GMT or thereabouts. I'll try and make it on time. I will try my hardest. I'm not the best at keeping a schedule when it comes to the live broadcasts, but do tune in again next Monday so that you can take part and have some stories lined up for me. If there's something you want me to talk about, you can power the show. So we talk about some of the subjects that have surprised you on the internet over the last few days. Also, I have got another live broadcast tomorrow with a really cool product to share for you. And on Wednesday, I'm planning on doing an Ask Me Anything Q&A. So you can ask me pretty much anything. And if it is not too rude, again, keep it clean, keep it family friendly, then that will happen on Wednesday of this week. And then the latter part of the week, I've got another broadcast also lined up for you. So thank you very much for tuning in. Happy Monday to you all. Have an amazing week as well, wherever you are. And I'll see you all in the next one.